where do you want to go? Do you want to go Marner, Tavares, Knies?
Well, I don't think we've really heard anything more on the Marner front other than the number, right? Like 14 is what he's
Yeah, I
what's
mean, well, the
being
thing
put
is too
out
is the
there.
term seems to be like he might go for 2 year term, he might go for 4 year term, maybe he'll go long term if he likes the fit. Like who the hell knows? We know that the Leafs were invited to get a meeting and we have declined because what's left to talk about? Nothing. So
Yeah,
that's
you had
interesting
a
in that
full
respect.
summer, full year to talk,
Yeah.
right?
It was funny to get reports of like confirmed he's leaving. It's like I think we thought that after his exit meeting. Like I don't think we saw a return.
Yeah.
You want to talk
Uh,
about maybe where he could and what do
well,
you think right now? We've talked about this before, but what do you
uh,
who are you handicapping as a favorite right now?
I keep hearing out west, right? Like, I keep seeing things about Vegas. I don't know where, like, I mean, obviously, you could make it fit, right? Um, I'm still leaning towards, for some reason, I'm leaning towards Carolina. I, it will probably make him the most hated Leaf of all time, especially considering the whole situation with the Hurricanes, like blocking a trade there, in a deal with Rantanen. That also included, I think it would have been Barbashev and I know Vegas was included. I'm pretty sure Barbashev was in that deal to help
That the
make the
problem
money
with
work.
the three-way deal, the reason it didn't work is because Carolina didn't like what Vegas was offering up. Like it was like Leafs get Marner,
Miko, no, Leafs got Miko
or
Rantanen.
sorry, Leafs get Mikko Rantanen, Vegas gets Marner, Carolina gets what?
Barbashev,
Right?
yeah.
Like there was no combination that made it work for Carolina. So I think that's why that one never happened. But we know the Carolina Leaf just Marner Rantanen was a thing. We know that. So I'll throw this out at you then. And this is just like fairy tale land because I don't think this is going to be a reality, but this is just a thought experiment here. Because you said Carolina would be like the worst possible place he could go. Would it be worse than Florida? Which one would you
Yeah, I mean,
have more feeling towards?
but
I'm
I'm
gonna play
going
both
based.
sides here. I'll
I'm
give you a
gonna
reason why maybe
so
it's
so I'm
not.
saying just based on likelihood for it.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I think it's just more likely for him to end up in Carolina. But
Thousand
yeah, no,
percent. He's
you're
not.
100% right. It would be
He's
the worst case nuclear scenario if he went to it. Not even just Florida. What if he went to Tampa?
Yeah, and Tampa is one that I always had them as like an outsider, maybe looking in because John Cooper, we know, just
Yeah,
raves about Mitch Marner. He loves Mitch Marner. Every time he gets to talk about him, he takes that opportunity. On the Florida thing, though, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen because it sounds like they're trying their hardest to sign the three impending UFAs and Bennett, Marchand, and Ekblad. But like we had like a report like 2 weeks ago about there being interest there. We'll see like what happens, but that's quieted down. Like we just haven't heard that. Would Marner going to Florida be the equivalent of the Kevin Durant to Golden State? To me,
uh,
it's like exactly that.
yeah, you
I
might be
talked about
right.
this with Brando yesterday. I think he had the same thought as well. It would be exactly the KD. You have Marner, who's lost to Florida twice. They've won the cup twice,
Yeah,
and then he would join them. That would be very Kevin Durant of Mitch Marner. Now, here's another point where I actually would, as a sadistic, masochistic Leafs fan, here's what Marner ending up in Florida would mean. Mean one of two things. A, Mitch Marner goes to Florida. He turns into a Florida Panther, like Seth Jones. Wins a cup with them, is like a leader, like he's pivotal. We see him talking crap in between whistles and whatever, and we're like, oh my god. That would then force the Toronto Maple Leafs to look in the mirror and say, it was us. We were the problem. We could have done that, and we didn't. It's our fault that this failed. Or Mitch Marner signs in Florida. He's not that guy. He's still Mitch Marner. They just don't work. Looks like a bad deal. And then as Leafs fans and the organization, you get to say we made the right choice. This was the right move. We knew this for a long time coming, and it's Marner who has to eat crow. Right? You kind of get a definitive answer one way or the other. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get it because he's not signing in Florida, but I think that's kind of how I would look at it.
I think the more realistic scenario would have been the first one of the two. Like, I feel like
he turns into a Florida Panther. I agree.
My one take will ultimately be wherever Mitch Marner chooses to go. I think he's gonna win a Stanley Cup, and I think if he does, he's gonna ultimately.
He could sign with the Buffalo Sabres, and we feel that way.
Okay, let's be realistic.
Sorry, okay, sure.
The realistic teams.
I already went to land with the Florida. I will not go to the bottom with Buffalo. That's fair.
Like, okay, so another team like in the mix as well that I think is underrated, but like, if you're Mitch, would you not consider it? Maybe going to like Utah.
I think that Mitch and I think his family are going to value the lifestyle of where they end up. And I don't think that Utah will give Mitch Marner the lifestyle that he wants. I think for certain players, like honestly, I would tell you this: like if I was an NHLer making a bajillion bucks, I wouldn't mind going to Utah. Like I'd be fine chilling out in Utah in nature and whatever. Like I could be fine there. I would be fine. I don't know if that's Mitch Marner. I think Mitch, especially when all you've known is Toronto, like you kind of want something like Toronto. To me, the team has always been LA.
So LA it is, I guess.
Just because it's the best of both worlds. Like you get a city bigger than Toronto, you get to live that lifestyle with way better weather, and you're like athlete number 35 on the fame list in that city. Like
literally,
dude,
everybody past the Lakers. Like, are you more famous than like some Clippers? Maybe.
No. Like maybe.
Like it's like
we're talking about bench players on the Clippers.
Yeah.
So it's
like,
the best of
the most popular LA King is probably the equivalent to being like LAFC, the LA Sparks, like even like LA Chargers probably have more cachet than you at that point.
100%. Dude, Justin Herbert or Mitch Marner? No chance.
Like it's who at that point.
Yeah, it's who. It's literally, if you ask an LA fan, it's who. So they're still the team for me. I wanted to do that thought experiment because I thought it was interesting. I don't know if we don't get a definitive answer. I don't think if he goes to LA because LA doesn't have the culture where like Florida has the culture where it's like you know if a player has it or not when they go to Florida. You find out one way or another. Obviously. No, maybe no other team in the NHL has the reputation right now. It used to be Boston.
Yeah.
Maybe it used to be Tampa. Right now it's Florida. So,
well, at one point I would have said it was like
talk.
Chicago too, right? And is Chicago not like is Chicago out of that like realm of possibility? Like they just have the money.
No, I think they could. Yeah, San Jose you could throw in there. I
100%.
Really think LA makes too much sense. Personally, I think LA makes too much sense.
Last team on the list. What about? Per se, if he doesn't go to LA, go a little bit up the road, you go to Orange County. Hey Anaheim, how are you?
Makes a lot of sense too. Do you want to be the number 65 athlete in the fame rankings in Orange County? Then you go to Anaheim.
Well, no, right? I think if you're gonna be in Anaheim, it's really Mike Trout, and that's about it. Like,
sure, but
are you bigger than Joe Adele?
No, yeah. I include Anaheim in the
LA thing.
Like,
see, I feel like Anaheim's got its own little thing. So it's like it's Mike Trout is the list. They have Shohei's face crossed out and burned everywhere. Can you take that burn spot right after Miguel Trout?
Miguel Trout.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. There's our Mitch Marner talk. We'll see what happens. I don't think he's going to let us trade his rights.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to do this again because it sounds like he might draw this out into the middle of July. So.
Yeah, I heard that
Mitch
too.
Marner talk, episode 50 of 75.
100.
Let's go.
So another thing to that we could touch on though is that the Leafs did make an offer to John Tavares, and it seems like it was a $12 million deal over 3 years, so about under $4 million per is what I heard. So roughly around 12, probably just under that. I heard Elliot Friedman say that I think his camp is looking at more of a Chris Tanev type deal to stay in Toronto, and to remind everybody at home, that's a 6-year deal at $4.5 per year, which was signed last summer. That's about 4.7% of the cap. So now, is the deal going to be like they're looking for term like that? I think that's the point of the deal where they're looking for, but it also kind of it also seems like a lot of teams right now are a bit more reluctant, and I think Elliot Friedman also mentioned that he kind of got that sentiment as well, where teams are just reluctant to hand out, or right now a little bit more reluctant to hand out term.
Yeah, I think I would be rolling on JT. I know for all the talk. How many years have we done this guy's moving to winger talk?
Oh, you're saying JT?
Yeah.
Dude, it literally seemed like the year after he scored the 47 goals, I think he had like 34.
So that was the first year.
The second year.
Right? Sorry.
Yeah, into the second year.
His first year, and
So into that second summer, that would have, I guess that would have been the summer that we played the Columbus year, and already it was, all right, it was a bad move signing him. Let's not count the fact that he scored 47 goals last year and he's still in the prime of his career, and this and that. So
here we are 5 years later, still didn't move to winger.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I would you be that surprised? And listen, I think he's so stupid, but he's going to move to winger at some point, probably in the next 5 years. I still think if you're signing him at 5x5, I look at John Tavares' game, and it's never been about skating. Like, it is literally all about soft touches, like power play, being able to rifle it sometimes. Like, I don't think that's going away. Do you?
No. Well, you certainly don't need this. I don't think you really need the speed to play the type of game that John Tavares has all his career, right? So and is he the absolute worst skater in the league? Like, no. Is his skating speed diminishing quite rapidly, like over the past few years? Yeah, maybe. But I don't think you're going to be hard pressed really to find like other players have made a diminishing foot speed, like they've worked around it. Guys like Joe Thornton, Corey Perry. Right? Like Joe Thornton played into his 40s with literally not being able to skate for the last 5-6 years of his career.
Yeah. 4 million times 3 is insulting for John Tavares.
Yeah,
that is Max Domi money.
Yeah, and this guy just scored 37 goals this past year, so...
Now, here's the caveat. It is June 23rd. That is not the Leafs' best offer. We still have a week. They're going to come to John Tavares with a better offer. Is it going to be enough? I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical right now because this is reminding me of Stamkos negotiations, right? And I've made the Stamkos comparison before. He can go and get the Stamkos contract. Somebody will give it to him. $8 million times 4 years. I think $8 million. I think on a 3-year deal, a 4-year deal will be available to John Tavares. $7-8 million. I can't fault him if he wants to go and get that because he will get it.
Yeah.
Why would he take that offer from the Leafs? There's zero reason. It's either that market value deal that he'll get in free agency or rematch, or we give him a tandem style deal, which is 5x5. That's it. I'm not going to fault JT for taking less than that. I'm really not. I can't be mad.
If he ultimately takes 5 years, $6 million per, so slightly above half of, if the number hits 6, where is the number where you are just okay, I don't think this is going to be a fit anymore?
I think 6 honestly might be that number. I think maybe even 5.5. To me, my height is probably 5.5.
Okay.
5 years is a lot of term. Like that is the risk. Like the team would be taking on risk there. I think after 5.5, I'd be more willing to do 8 times 3 than 5.5
Five
times
and a half.
5.
Okay.
And maybe the actual answer is let him walk after 5 times 5. Maybe let him walk is ahead of 8 times 3. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, for a team that wants a DNA change, if you then also then go back and next season and you have JT signed, Matthew signed, and Willie signed, how much of a DNA change can you really have with this team?
Yeah, I think that's a fair argument. I think in almost any other year, I'd even say that's the way to go. There's just like no centers, man.
Yeah.
So
It, it
they
kind of
have to get
seems
creative and make the roster work.
it seems like this implosion kind of came in a year or two early. We need at least one
Well,
more year.
it's more
But
like the Leafs have terrible
foresight?
like predicting. Like our foresight is awful, and a lot of it is within our control. Like this goes back to Brendan Shanahan letting Kyle Dubas go in a critical moment in the team's history when they needed to make a decision on the core and probably move off of them. And then you can't fault Brad Treliving for saying no because he just got there. He wants to see what he's got. And then Craig Berube comes in and he probably wants to see what he's got. Like awful foresight. Just it sucks that we could lose both of these guys for nothing. Um, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I've already made peace with Mitch Marner, like losing him for nothing. Like
Yes,
I think
Sam.
the time was on the clock when they fired Kyle Dubas, so it was like either
Once his no move clause kicked in
well that was
that
that
summer,
summer, right? Like that was it. It was like if the move doesn't happen then
Brad had 1 month to figure out how to
less.
trade
It
him.
was literally 3 weeks.
Yeah.
He got hired like
Yeah.
May 23rd, I think. It was like, yeah, that just wasn't going to happen. So, well, I mean, like, listen,
No, it's those two.
that is those two. I'm also hearing that the Leafs are looking to pursue trades over free agents this year. So
I do love that.
that does
hope-
really
I
hype
hope
me up
that's the
for the
case.
draft, at least, as well. Like, as a Leaf fan, like, purely, like, that hypes me up quite a bit because, like, can you swing something
Get creative, man.
at the draft? Who are
I do want to get to that, but I do want to do the Knies. I want to talk Knies
yes?
first.
Oh, I did for yes.
Um,
We should
So
touch
okay,
on
so
that.
he's priority number one to me. Like this should be off-season priority number one
Yes.
for the Leafs is get Matthew Knies specifically on a deal that doesn't make us do the same thing we've done
To Mitch
the
Marner
past
and
decade.
yeah.
And you know what? I started this summer and I said to myself, I'm like, what's the number that you would say no to Matthew Knies on an 8-year deal, Dave? How high does it go? Would you say no to 8 times 8 for Knies?
No,
8.5,
no,
9,
no.
9.5,
Yeah, maybe.
right?
Maybe 9.5
like
is
that's
my.
but yeah. So is that too much? Like, are we repeating the same mistake that we did in terms of giving all the money to a young player? I came into the summer saying no. I honestly think like how much. Let's do the same exercise. How much was Matthew Knies worth to the Leafs this year? What was his value to the Leafs? To me, he was an $8.5 million player this year.
Yes,
He's a
yeah.
30 goal scorer, 65 points. He's a power forward that there isn't many of in the league. He played more than 5 minutes a night more than last year under Craig Berube. All situations, like he did it all for us. That's already an $8.5 million player.
His only two
Right.
comps for long parts of the season was Matthew Tkachuk and Tom Wilson in terms of goal scoring and in terms of physicality. Like the counting stats alone, the only two
Yeah.
players in his realm were those two players, and guess what they make?
9.5.
9.5.
Well, Matthew
Or
Tkachuk
one of
does
them does
9.5.
at least.
Tom
Yeah.
Wilson, yeah. Tom Wilson doesn't, but Matthew Tkachuk does. So, and so this is the pushback that some people give. Well, you don't have Mitch Marner or John Tavares. Is Matthew Knies still going to put up those same numbers? I mean,
You have Austin
I don't know.
Matthews
I
and
watched
William
Matthew
Nylander.
Knies.
Sorry, pal.
You do, But guess what? I think you could have neither of those guys, and I still think Matthew Knies is like a 60-point player. How many of his goals in the playoffs were just Matthew Knies
Just
scoring the goal?
Park in front of the net, yeah.
Breakaways, making a play out of nothing in the corner, like just a good shot. Like that's what he is on the power play. Like that's Matthew Knies creates a lot of his own chances.
Yeah.
There's like 9.5 is maybe the number where I start to even think about not signing him in on an 8-year deal. I think the problem is Matthew Knies recognizes this as well. Like he would outgrow 9.5 in a couple years, and I don't think we'll be able to get him on an 8-year deal, which sucks. It sucks. I don't think he would sign it. I think you'd have to give him like 10.5.
Yeah, for 8 years.
I think that his agent and him know that he will outgrow that contract and he's going to want a bridge deal, which not that I hate. Like you can make it work.
It just
but it makes
the
it so
problem.
that if you're signing him if you're signing him for 3 years at $7 million, $7 million is already a pretty high number. 6.5, it's already a pretty big number. And that means when he comes up for renewal with arbitration rights, he can either A, take a 1-year deal to walk him to free agency.
Yeah.
Awful. Or B, he's going to ask for the moon because the cap is so high.
Yeah.
I don't really see a way that the Leafs are going to come out of this with a great deal, and that makes me really pissed. I don't know if you see it differently, but I don't know how we win the Matthew Knies contract, which we're repeating the same scenario.
Yeah. Well, I think they just. I know this is going to sound very hypocritical of me.
This sucks. Like I don't have a good answer here.
They might just have to lose the Matthew Knies deal.
God,
honestly,
I'd rather lose it long term than short term.
Yeah,
I would honestly, dude, maybe give him 10 flat because he should outgrow it.
You're right, but yeah.
Would you rather give Matthew Knies $1.5 million more this summer or freaking Pew Suter? Matthew Knies, it's not even a question. That's why he's priority number 1 for me.
Yeah.
So
hey, Matthews, if you look deep in your heart, could you find a way to help us out here? I'm saying that, and knowing full well I cheer for the team that quite literally gave everybody else before him. It's like he should be the one to say okay, I'm going to be the one to take the discount. It's like nobody else before him did that. So, yeah, you're right. It is.
This is the most pessimistic I've felt about the Leafs going into the summer in a long, long time. Literally going back to the dark days. This is literally.
No, I don't know. I felt very pessimistic after they lost to Florida the first time.
No,
and then the Kyle Dubas stuff happened. I was like, oh, this is.
You're right. We were pretty doom and gloom when Brad came in. We were not. And then literally the first thing we hear is he wants Ryan Reeves on a 3-year deal. We're like, oh my God.
And then you know
You're
what?
Right.
He did. And you know what? Didn't work out
he
well
did,
for him.
And we're still okay with it right now. We're still not okay with that move. I'm just saying we're
but
okay
just
with
everything. The body of work. Yes. 100%. Yeah. So you know
Reeves,
what?
Awful.
So
but, yeah.
what is the solution here? Is it give him the money or is it lose? I mean,
I think it's going to be a bridge deal.
And bridge him.
I think we're going to have to bridge him. I hope it's
it's got to be a reasonable bridge too. It can't be if it's 3 years. I don't want to see $8 million. I want to see keep the number relatively low, so at the very least we can.
It's got to be in the 6s.
I would say as high as 7. If it's 7 by 3 at that point, I'm gonna bite the bullet and I'll be like, okay, we can revisit Matthew Knies in 2.5
and we
years.
Can give him $12 million.
Listen, if he
right?
deserves deserves $12 million, I'm more than happy because I love Matthew Knies and I think he's a piece that they really need on a team to kind of go long term here. But listen, let's all we also
the
have to
frustration
be.
For us comes from we look at the Florida Panthers roster and we say they didn't get guys on market value. They got
way below. Dude. If Sam Bennett,
that's why,
who just won a Conn Smythe, and now he signs for less than Sasha Barkov, who's making $9.5 million. What the hell are we doing
To
here?
me, to me, like, dude came off a Conn Smythe season. He should be getting 9 mil,
He
and
should
I
be
don't think
getting
Florida will
10
give him
mil, if
that.
I'm going to
And
be
he might not.
honest.
And we know that's not happening in Florida. If
Yeah.
he signs in Florida, it's going to be 8 or 8.5, and we're gonna be like unbelievable. So that's where our frustration comes from with this. Is that it's not that Matthew Knies couldn't be worth it. It's that the other guys take less than they're worth.
Yeah. Realistically, we could be living in a world where Matthew Knies makes the unequal amount as Sam Bennett does next year.
Yeah.
Like in terms of AAV at least. Because they're not making the same in take-home money. Matthew Knies is taking a lot less home.
No.
And that's another thing that just absolutely puts the knife right into, right?